Hello and welcome to the Fat Dad Fishing Show podcast and live stream. My name is Rich Natoli. I'm back. We're back,
We're back.
joined by the lovely and very talented Ed Gobo, owner of Captain Hank's Tackle. Ed, how you doing tonight?
This feels oddly familiar.
It's like we never left, right?
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, me too. It's been about a year since we were live on this channel. Obviously, we did a lot of things with Salt Strong. A lot, dozens and dozens, but we're back and we're going to be on this channel. So it's good to see everyone. It's great to see
Absolutely.
a night where the Phillies are in the playoffs and people were flexible and a little bit of a late start, but man, I'm so excited to be doing this again.
This makes up for the loss. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they lost. It was a disappointing game, but I'll tell you what, I'm just happy. So hello to everybody that is out there in the chat or just watching and not chatting. Too many people probably to go through. But see, Brian Supermag was in there, James Flynn, participation trophy, crabbing and fishing. Peter
Dave.
Niblick, huh?
Bayside Dave.
Bayside Dave's in there. Trying to go from the top down here. Let's see. Larry Matzinger, Nick Devereaux, Mark Us, Suffer 2,
Dr. John,
Bill Deekhouse, and I know I'm missing people. Did I see Heaven and Ellen there? I thought I saw Heaven and Ellen there too. Don Mace, Billy Ackerman, Carl Ward, Joe Billups. Yes, I probably missed some people in there, but everyone, thank you so much for coming back with us as we jump on. And there's my brother. Yeah, I got a few more gray hairs there, Tom. Yeah.
We should bring him on for story time.
So I have a really good story. My favorite fishing story with my brother involved a little bit of alcohol. It involved the dock in Stone Harbor at night and two bored brothers just trying to get out of the way of everybody else and him catching sharks by hand. So
I think every good story starts with alcohol.
That did. And I think I have the video. I'll put that out on Facebook. But yeah, he just reaches down and just snags it as it goes through the lights. I think it was a dogfish, but in any event, he still caught it by hand and was just holding it up. It was, that's one of my favorite stories fishing with him. So
that's impressive.
Yeah, I didn't think he was actually going to get it done, but he did. Yeah, but thanks everybody for tuning in. I know it's been a long time since we've been gone. And for those that are unaware, and I know there are some because I just got some messages like, yeah, I wondered where you went. I was working with Salt Strong for the past year on their payroll as a fishing coach. So I spent a year as a professional fishing coach for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, actually Virginia, all the way up the entire East Coast, all the way through the Chesapeake. And it was a lot of fun, but life goes on and I need to get something going there for a job that's going to pay the bills. as you can imagine, used to have a pretty nice job beforehand. And then when the company sold and my job was eliminated, I worked for Salt Strong for a year because I had that luxury. And now what I've decided to do is I've jumped back into real estate full time. I did that years ago, was very successful. Before the crash of the market, I got a really good corporate job offer. So I took that and then jumped out of there finally. And now I'm back in real estate. So that's what I'm doing. So want to buy or sell a home in Pennsylvania, let me know. Don't have my Jersey license until early next year. And Ed, why don't you tell everybody what you're up to? Because some things have changed with Captain Hank's.
Yeah. So I guess, I don't know, it's probably 5 or 6 months ago. I got a wild hair and decided to start to shift the business model. Started making rods. So that's the new direction that Captain Hank's is going to be going. Making the jigs is fun. It's more quality or more quantity. Whereas the rods, I can take a little more time. I can, spend a little more time doing them and they come out and, pretty sweet. So that's that's the new Captain Hanks venture. And then, with your absence on the Fat Dad channel, I kind of jumped in with that and started making some videos, and still learning the ropes on that one, but staying busy.
Yeah. So, and it was funny because people don't know this, but you said, I'm thinking about maybe I might want to do rods, but should I buy everything? Should I just buy everything and just go all in, or try it out? And I think what I said to you is, Ed, I know you're going to love building rods. Just buy it. Just buy everything you need, because I know
Yes.
Ed really well. And Ed is one of those detail oriented, meticulous, quality minded people,
Thank you.
who just, which dude, I am not detail oriented, and it is like my weakness. Maybe that's why we work so well together. It drives me nuts making rods. I mean, I'll make one for myself, but I'll do it as fast as possible. I use good components and everything, so it's quality, but the quicker it's done, the better. So if I can get one done in an hour, then I am just really extremely excited by that, no matter what. And Ed's doing decorative wraps and all that stuff.
See, no, I'm not doing. I
Yeah,
don't
you
want to
are.
do crazy. No, I'm doing a little bit. I don't want to do crazy like Billy Vivona, John
Right.
Creeley type detail wraps. I just want to do stuff that looks decent but performs. That's all. I do not want to get into that side of the. It's an art, honestly, and I don't think I have the patience for it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So,
well, that's the kind of rod that I like. I like the more simplistic ones. There's some of the wraps that you've done, while decorative, are not what I would consider elaborate, actually.
no,
They're
not at all. They're just
simple and clean,
simple,
and look
tasteful.
awesome.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think the more that stuff you put on the rod, it affects the performance of the rod. So
it can.
I'm trying to keep it toned back a little bit. That way the blank and what the blank's capabilities can shine through,
Yeah. Yeah. And just for full disclosure, everybody, Ed and I have already talked about putting together a line of Fat Dad fishing rods.
In the works.
In the works. Yes. I have taken the past couple of months really to focus on getting the real estate business going. Because if people don't know, if either you're working with clients and buying and selling houses, or you're not getting paid. So it's priority number one. So I haven't actually been out on the water much at all. And the couple of times that I was set to go, the weather was just terrible. And it was that in between time between striped bass coming in and fluke. And I was like, do I really want to do this for one tog? No. So I stayed home, did a little bit of work. But for people like my brother asking, Ed is located in New Jersey, right near Atlantic City, Tom. So if you want to reach out to him about rods, it's captainhankstackle.com, but it's CAPT hankstackle.com. That's his website. Now on there are not rods, but
not yet.
You're my brother, Tom. You can just send me a text. I'll give you his phone number and you can just call Ed.
While we're on that fishy, I do have some kayak specific stuff that I've already built. So reach out. I can, we can talk depending on what you're looking to do.
Absolutely. Well, that, when we're collaborating, our first line is going to be kayak rods. Definitely.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And to his point, the long butt on those rods is just the worst in a kayak. It's just brutal. However, if it's too short, it can also be tough. I've actually almost lost a couple of rods. Well, the same rod, I shouldn't say a couple, maybe half a dozen to a dozen times, because I like to brace it under my forearm, but it's not long enough to go under my whole forearm. So it just kind of pops off if your arm is wet or your hands wet. And quite often when you're catching fish, your arms are wet. So it just kind of slips right off. But yeah. Anyway, so that's what we've been doing. The question, am I done with Salt Strong? I am not totally done with Salt Strong. I still do some work for Salt Strong behind the scenes, and I'm still doing some week ahead forecasts and updates and game plans for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. I am no longer doing Virginia, which is what I was doing as well. I know we also have some Virginia folks in here. That was a lot of fun because that's a fishery that I love. The Virginia fishery, the redfish, the speckled trout, along with the striped bass, is just amazing. And of course, they have the sheep's head, but they also have a lot more cobia. So it's a lot of fun following that fishery and helping those guys out. And a lot of it is very, very similar to what we do in the Northeast. Once you get to North Carolina and South, it's a whole different game. whole different
Mhm.
game. And I kind of stayed out of that. I can catch redfish, I can catch speckled trout. I know how to do it, but it is certainly not in my it's not my wheelhouse, you know. I'm really excited when I get any redfish. So
Yes. I still
speaking
haven't
of
gotten
which,
mine yet.
yeah, speaking of which, we need to get out there and get on those. So that's what's going on now. As far as this live stream and podcast, the podcast is going to be back up and going, so we're going to use the same audio. However,
Mhm.
Ed and I are trying to figure some things out. So we are going to be looking at a different schedule to start. We're going to go every other week at this point right now.
Gotta ease
Um,
back into it.
we have to ease back into it. And again, a lot of it is because all of the time and the money that went into hosting all the platform. You guys have no idea how many well, some of you do. Crabbing and fishing might know all the equipment, the editing
Mhm.
stuff, all the subscriptions on those things. Those all cost a lot of money. And
We
I don't
broke.
want to, yeah, I'm broke. I'm broke for now. Um, I should say business is pretty good though. I mean, I'm not broke, but I got to get my business up and running before I can jump, you know, whole hog back into it. But we will be putting out every other week a live stream or at least a a podcast. We will be doing podcasts that are not live from time to time.
Breaking
And
news.
oh, Scotty has entered the chat. Scotty Sevens, good to see you, man.
Welcome, brother.
So there will be content coming out. It will be at least every other week on the podcast, and we're going to try to do live streams as well. We just got to figure out what's going to work. We're going to try to keep the same time and everything like that, but you know, I just can't commit to that at this moment. And you will start seeing videos popping up back on the channel once Ed and I are able to start hitting the water more regularly.
Yeah, if someone
So
would turn the fan off.
what? Oh
If
God, yeah,
someone would
it's like
turn the fan
35
off.
miles an hour. Yeah, yeah.
I've been trying to fish like the last 3 or 4 nights, and it's just been wind
Yeah,
constantly.
but that's good. Go with Scotty. Scotty's been pulling in some monsters.
He's got my number. I'm waiting for the invite, bro.
Yeah, me too. Come on, Scotty. God. Last time I saw Scotty, I was passing him on, or no, he was passing me on the Atlantic City Expressway. He was flying. Yeah. Um, all right. So that's what we're going to be doing with the channel. So we're back up and running, guys. And if you have anybody that you'd like to be a guest, let us know. It's Rich at fatdadfishing.com. You can email me. You can text. Well, most people here probably have my number. All the Salt Strong members should have my number because I posted it repeatedly on there. And actually, I could just give it to you right now if this were just live. But since it's not just live, I'm not going to do that.
I got a question. Why don't I have an edit fatdadfishing.com email?
You didn't want one. I think that's why. Oh no, it's because it's a pain in the neck to hook up. It's through Bluehost or something like that. Yeah, it's a pain in the neck.
I'm
Yeah.
just messing with you.
Well, you can have one if you want. We'll make the Ed Gobo bomb at Fat Dad Fishing.
That guy shouldn't run.
No, that was terrible. That was terrible trying to steal. Yeah, so that's where we are with the show and everything like that. So again, let us know if you have guests that want to come on. We already have Mahalik lined up. He's going to be in at the end of November. We're going to be talking about TOG. But as I mentioned, not all of the podcast episodes are going to be live episodes going forward. So we will record some that are not live that'll go out on the podcast, and make sure that you're following that as well. And I think there is a way now to put that also on YouTube. So it won't be live, but it'll be there on YouTube as well. So we're going to look at doing that as well. So we'll have the content flying out like we did in the past. And again, we'll get a lot of fishing, and we are looking right now to kind of cut down the length of the streams, at least at the start. So I was doing half-hour ones where Salt Strong felt a little short for some of the topics, especially when you have a guest. But that's what they wanted, so that's what I did. But you know, people seem to like it, and I look at the metrics on the podcast and on YouTube, and people watch. On average, the average view duration on a live stream in the past was about 32 minutes out of an hour. which is very, very high, with about 40% of the people, depending on the ones, depending on who the guest is and when it is during the year, about 40% of the people actually finishing the whole thing. So that's incredibly high for YouTube. So we'll see. Usually, on a 10-minute video, the average view duration, we'll do a little
4
insight.
minutes.
What is it?
It was like 4 minutes or something.
It's like a minute 50. Yeah, we're way over that in on this channel, and a lot of fishing channels are way over because people actually know what they're looking for. You don't have these, these fake pranks going on or anything like that. But we've done pretty well on that. So look for everything to kick off again, folks. And we do need to talk a little fishing though, Ed, even though we haven't been out on the water the last couple of weeks. We do need to talk about the striped bass and how that's kicked off. We could talk about Tog, but what are we going to talk about? Go to a wreck?
One fish, go home.
Yeah, we'll wait for Mahalik to talk about the tactics and everything like that. Is it still one fish? It's not one fish. It's 5 fish.
Not yet.
It's not?
It's still one. I think November 16th.
Yeah. November 16th.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as you know, and as most people know, I don't start fishing for Tog until it hits late November, early December, and then I'll fish it as long as possible in the next year. But man, the striped bass kicked off, and one of the reasons was let's see, we're seeing Steven saying November 15th, November 16th, 5 fish is what Nick's saying. So yeah. Now that's New Jersey. New York, I think, is already open. But let's talk about the striped bass. They kicked off, man, and they kicked off right. For those that are Salt Strong members, I said in a video, I said, look, they're around, but they haven't kicked off. But this weekend they're going to, and they did. I'm seeing, Scotty had a beautiful one. Well, he's had a few, but I've seen a lot of fish that are 30 to some that looked like they were over 50. And I can't say that they were or they were not, because the people that posted the pictures didn't measure them. They didn't weigh them. They just, which I love. They did the quick release. They took it out, took the picture horizontally and put it back in the water, but they're out there. So man, I got to tell you, it's looking like it's going to be another season like it was last year. And I'm looking forward to it. What are you thinking about this year? You ready to go out to the Raritan with me?
I don't have a dry suit.
Oh, Ed. Okay.
Buy some fishing rods and I can get a dry suit.
Oh, okay. Everyone buy some fishing rods so that Ed can go.
Please don't, because then
you'll be making fishing rods instead of going out.
Yeah, I'll have a dry suit hanging on the shelf.
I think I'm in my last year for this dry suit before I have to replace it. I'm going to do my best to get through it.
I know buddy Paul has a lead on some good ones, so I have to talk to him. Yeah,
and actually, so that's Great Bay Outfitters, everybody. If you haven't gone there, and look, that's not sponsored. So actually, this is a sponsored live stream going forward. He's not a sponsor, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you check out, I think his shop is closed right now. I think it closed for the season.
I think he's open by appointment, so reach out to him if you're wanting something.
Yeah, you want to talk about going somewhere. If you're a kayak fisherman or want to be a kayak fisherman, Great Bay Outfitters is the place you want to go. Paul is awesome. The manager, I forget his name, the store manager, he was awesome too. I mean, just all about helping you find the right product. And one thing that was interesting is Paul, I got so many conversations with him. He's like, what do you think somebody's looking for in this area, like this type of product? And then we would talk about it, and then he'd send a text, and then he'd be like, yep, I'm going to go. And he just approached the company and start carrying their stuff. Like Old Town. He started out with, I think, Hoodoo.
Hoodoo and another company.
Yeah. And then he's just like, I think we need Old Town. And everybody said yes. And wouldn't you know, he's now an Old Town dealer. And man, those were flying in and out of his shop. So great shop, great guy.
Yeah, he's just a good dude.
Yeah, support the local businesses. And that's one that I highly recommend. And people know that I typically fish further south than that, or all the way up north in New York, Southern New York and Raritan Bay area. But I will go to see Paul whenever I need something, and then I'll go fishing from there quite often. So
Well, he's got a new location in Keyport.
he does, and I think the Keyport is closed too right now. I don't think that's open, but yeah, if you want to support a local business and kayak, it's not just kayak. I mean, it's a kayak outfitter shop, but it's a lot of great fishing stuff in there. Rods,
Rods, reels, tackle. He's got some tackle. There's
electronics.
some, yes, electronics. Anything you need to rig a kayak and go fish. Honestly, besides like fresh bait.
Right, which they don't really need. I mean, not too many
No.
people are using a lot of fresh bait.
And I'm seeing the guys coming through. There's a kayaker missing in Keyport, so prayers out to him.
Yeah, so I was going to talk a little bit about that. The new rule that you have to now wear a life jacket or a PFD.
I'm not against it.
Yeah, so here's my take on it. So now in New Jersey, you're required to wear the PFD. So you can't just have it on the boat if you're out there. And I don't know all the rules on the boat itself. I think it's like if you're a solo person in a boat, is that right? Or is it
No,
everybody in a boat under
everyone in a
22
boat.
or something?
It's every person in a boat under, I think it's under 26 feet or outside the cabin. And I think
Okay.
commercial vessels are exempt.
Okay. So I will say I'm not for it. I'm not for it. Just because I don't think it's something that you should make a law for. However, it shouldn't be an issue because you should be wearing, especially kayakers. You should be, missing kayaker now off Keyport. Well, that I hope that person has a PFD on. I think it's still warm enough that you don't have to have the dry suit. I mean, it's definitely warm enough.
I think they're calling frost advisory tonight.
Yeah, but the water's still like 65, right? 60.
I think it's last time I was out was 64.
64. So, it's really the water temperature that matters. People talk about that 120 rule. If the combined temperature of the water and the air is not 120 degrees or more, then you need to wear a dry suit. Well, if the water's 90 degrees, it can be 0 degrees outside and it doesn't matter. You're not going to get hypothermia. You know what I mean? It's the water temperature really that matters. But, yeah, so during the winter, so November through May, I think, or through April is when you have to wear the life jacket. But again, I'm not for it because I'm not for laws and regulations telling us to do stuff. But I hate seeing people say there's a missing kayaker, and then that if they show up dead, it's because they didn't have a PFD on. And you saw that picture of the video of that boat outside of Manasquan Inlet going over in rough weather. I guess somebody fell overboard and they tried to turn around. I don't know the whole story, but I thought that somebody fell over. They tried to turn around and get him and got broadsided and went over. And it's that kind of thing. If it's dangerous, you should have it on. You should just put it on. What does it matter?
And everybody's, I'm going to come at it from the angle of a first responder because I was a volunteer fireman for almost 6 years. It's not so much like Andrew's saying for hypothermia. It's not so much to save your life as it is to protect the first responders that are coming out to look for you. So if you have a PFD on, your chances are you're going to be floating. So they're not going to have to call it the Coast Guard. Your chances of being found, whether you're dead or alive at that point, are kind of out, doesn't much matter, but it's more for the lives of the people going to look for you.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And on top of that, it's also for your family.
Yeah.
Who's going to have to identify your bloated body at the end of it. I'd never want to do that to, I've talked about it before. I fished Pamlico Sound down in North Carolina. It's a foot of water. I have to pull up my drive to get through there. And I have PFD on just for that simple reason. If something happens and I go in the water, I want to be able to just be able to, have a shot there. But I don't like them telling us that we have to do it. I just don't like it. I'm not a fan of that.
I think we have bigger fish to fry, honestly.
So. Yeah, and they say it's for hypothermia. I don't know. To Andrew's point, I don't know how that helps with hypothermia. It's what's it going to do?
That's not going to do shit for hypothermia. Like I said, it's more so. I think it's from my angle. I think it's more so for the first responders than anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, my brother was a first responder for a long time, and people think that that stuff doesn't live with you.
Oh, it
It,
does.
it does. It's a stressful thing for people to go out and do good, and I just don't like it being required. I wish people would just do it on their own. But 'tis the season for kayak deaths, so get ready, folks. Strap it in. We're going to be watching these reports coming in throughout the entire fall and into the winter before the people that don't know better and don't wear these things, don't wear dry suits, and don't wear PFDs are off the water in December, and then you kind of see it disappear a little bit after that because the people out there are in the dry suits and are typically the more dedicated to the sport. Kind of, I think, have a more of a respect for what can happen. So
Just wear your damn life jacket.
yeah. So that's an interesting thing. But okay, but let's talk striped bass. All
Okay.
right. So the one thing that we do have going, and this was brought up, with George Bucci brought this up, the west winds, bringing those bunker into the beach. And I'll be damned if that didn't happen because I'm watching people pulling in 40 pounders off of LBI, off of IBSP. I saw a picture texted to me. I didn't see it. I didn't see it online. So maybe I shouldn't have said anything, but it was somewhere in IBSP. Raritan Bay is definitely packed with bunker, and you're seeing the pictures of the boats, and they're only like a half a mile to a quarter of a mile outside of the rollers or outside of the breakers.
I was gonna say they're flirting with them things.
Yeah, I mean they're coming in close. Surf casters are almost hitting the boats at times,
Mhm.
which, by the way, they should. If someone's going to come in that close and you're on the
Them
beach,
plugs are expensive, man.
yeah, well, says the gel coat, right?
I guess.
I think so. I don't know. I've seen some surf casters that I don't want to get in front of with a boat. I'll give them their space there. But the one thing that's worked out really well that I've seen is a lot of people are using the snag and drop. So they're throwing out the snags, they're switching it over to the circle hooks, and then they're just throwing it out there. So if you're using bait, that's the bait right now. Everything that I've seen is go with the live baits, go with the snag on the bunker. But the problem is there is a lot of adult bunker, but there's a lot more peanut bunker. So a lot of this feeding is on the peanut bunker, which means you need to downsize and not go with those huge paddle tails and baits. They'll still work, but if you want to kind of match the hatch a little bit more, that's where you start looking at what the no live bait needed. Look at something from the 5 really is the absolute minimum size soft plastic I would use as a 5-inch, but really
Yeah,
6 to 8.
Gotta find some new shads. Northeast went out of business, so
Did they actually go out of business though? Because I thought I saw something just like last week from them.
no, I got confirmation last night. I was talking to Chris Matuson.
Oh, that's a shame. All right. Well,
Yeah.
buy the colors. Buy the molds. You can do the soft plastics, Ed.
No,
Make it under Captain Hanks.
no, you
Hey,
come do it.
you've got 2 sons that you can put to work.
No,
Okay.
I don't trust them with making grilled cheese sandwiches. You think I'm gonna let them play with 350-degree molten plastic?
Fair enough. And notice how I didn't offer to help.
Yeah,
So
exactly. You just like to set fires and run away.
I do. I'm very good at that. So, all right. So our goal is to find the new soft plastics. You've got some that you like already. I'm pretty well wide open on you got to find something that makes those larger ones though. I'm looking 6 to 8 inch is really where I want to go. I mean, that's really what you need.
Yeah. James, I'll make a suggestion. If you're looking for soft plastics, check out Chris at Bougie Baits. He's one of the up and coming guys.
All right. There you go. And he makes custom colors for Ed.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't. Ed has tried to get me to use those multiple times. I just haven't. But I guess I will at some point. Give him a try.
Should. He makes good stuff. He just can't. He doesn't have the mold like the Northeast one, and I love that Ripper shad.
Yeah. The one thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that we focus on, that I focus on small businesses. I'm like done with the big stuff. I'm seeing like the Hoagie Hoagie, yeah, they make some great stuff, and I love some epoxy lures. I'm trying to not use that stuff. I'd rather go with um, the local companies, and I'm going to do my best to support them. All local shops, and all of the companies, all of the small lure makers, and everything like that. I mean, that's what I'm looking for. So if somebody's hand making lures, I'll pay the $20 for that rather than buy a couple of tsunamis if I can.
Hmm.
So I'm just all about that. I've just seen. I mean, look, part of it is well, you're a small business owner. I am. I mean, my
Hmm.
entire income is small business, at this point. But in the past, I've also owned multiple small businesses. So I think people don't quite focus on that. And it's a shame that we did not do enough as a community to keep Northeast going, because that was a great product lines. And I wonder if the community could have done a little bit more, to help them out, because there's no reason I mean, there are so many out there that are nowhere near as good as
No,
them,
I
but
don't.
they're
I don't
bigger
know what.
names.
I don't know what the situation was with that. I don't know if it was lack of support or internal issues or what. But
Well, but I don't know either, but I'm just going to blame it on us, on all
sure.
of us in the community. It could have been that the owners got in a fight. I don't know. I'm just going to say if there was enough business, they would have figured something out where they would have sold it, and made their money and gotten out clean. And maybe they did, and we just don't know that. That's also a possibility. Um,
Yeah.
but Carl's asking about no live bait needed, the NLBN. I don't know much about them. I used it once. I used one of them once that a dude gave me, that he found at the where I was launching the kayak, and he picked it up, and he's like, "Have you ever used these?" And he told me what it was, and he gave it to me. I've used it once, and I caught one striped bass on it, a little schoolie. It was in the summer. So I don't know enough about them, but I mean, I'm open to it. As long as it's a small business, I'm open to giving it a go.
Yeah, I don't know
So
if they're small business or what, but I do know they're catching. So
yeah, I mean, it's like the hot lure. Everybody's talking about that. Every single post is like, call it on NLBN. Okay.
yeah,
I don't know if it's just the hot thing, like the salmon colored gulp was one year.
that was always terrible. It was never good.
I I I consider it a big waste of money. It never worked for me, but
No, I have
um,
bags of it that don't do shit.
yeah. Well, I've I got rid of most of mine. I switched. You know what I used it for? This summer when we had the croaker invasion of South Jersey, that was absolutely unprecedented. I was using,
Just fed it
uh,
to the croakers.
yeah, that's all I was doing. I was using all of them, and they just destroyed like $100 worth of them. But I'm okay with it because now I don't have to cart those things around anymore, because I don't know that I've ever caught a legit fluke inshore on on it's salmon, right? It's like salmon
Yeah,
red, but it's really orange.
it's like orange.
Yeah, it's called orange, but they call it salmon, right? And then there are a couple other colors, and then they also had these other baits that have a different consistency that was terrible. It was almost like a hard bait. It was harder. It wasn't as flexible. So one bite from a fluke was cutting in half. They were like the little sandies.
Yeah,
Hated those. I
yeah.
caught.
There were some real brittle colors. I don't know if they had like a weird reaction or something. I
I
remember
don't know.
those.
It might have just been old stuff. I don't know. I don't know. But it's good. So Elle is saying that she does well in the salmon color. Um, and they work for sea bass. I'm not talking about sea bass. They might work awesome for sea bass. I don't fish for sea bass. So full disclosure to everybody, I just don't. So I wouldn't
We should
know.
change that.
Well, I don't have a boat to get out to get the good size ones, and nobody ever wants to paddle as far offshore as I want to.
That's because
So
there's something wrong with you. I wouldn't
I
follow you out there on a kayak.
it's fun to go out front on a kayak, shoot Absecon Inlet in a kayak. It's awesome. It's so much fun. I went around the whole Brigantine Island in one inlet, out the other.
No,
Well,
not me.
okay. Well, I did. It was fun. Um, Randy and I, my partner Randy with Velocirac is he's nuts.
See, that explains it all.
Yeah. So if anyone's met Randy, Randy is absolutely insane. And he will literally do anything. And we're looking actually right now to find a boat that we can put our kayaks on and just kind of mothership out for tuna, for mahi offshore. I want to go for sharks. Nobody else wants to go for shark, but I do. So if anyone wants to
try
do
that, I will try that. But I will not
tuna?
paddle my ass out there. No.
We're talking about going 25, 35 miles offshore, or at least, 50 miles, 60 miles, and just having the boat just kind of be out there with us. They can do whatever they want while we're out there. And then if we need them, we radio and they come over, they can, bring more bait to us. We can go real light. And then if we just want to get out of the kayak, they can just pull up alongside. We can jump back in the boat for a while and then just head back in at the end of the trip. But I would like to, Randy and I talked about it. We'd like to get a Fat Dad fishing type of group together to get a boat to do that. The problem is you need a big boat because we're putting 14 to 16 or 12 to 16 foot kayaks on there and stacking them up front. You're going to need at least a 35, 40 foot boat to do that. Otherwise it'll get uncomfortable real quick, them sliding around. Yeah, so that's a couple of things that I'm looking forward to. As far as the winter time, I'm going to be all, as soon as I can, I'm going to be heading out for the striped bass, and then I'm going all party boats and tog fishing, determined to get that double digit this year. And I'm hoping that my favorite boat, the Osprey, comes down. It's a new boat this year, but I love going out on the Osprey. He said he is, but I don't think that marina's not open this year, is it?
No. They went, if it's the one I'm thinking of, they went to like a private club or something.
Yeah.
So they were looking for dockage, but I think they said they were going to come down, so I don't know.
That's a fun boat to go out on. The captain's just a great guy. He's fun.
As long as they don't have conch. It's the worst.
I've never been on there when they did.
Dude, it sounds like they're framing a house while you're trying to fish. They're busting these things up with hammers on the back of the boat. It's the worst.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people overthink it. You have to have this. You have to have hermit crabs. You have to have that. Well, I've talked to world record holders, state record holders. I fished with them and they use regular bait.
Green crab.
Yeah, they're using green crab or white leggers, and that's it. And they're catching these things. And people that caught ones that just missed state records I've talked to. And it's all regular baits. So like, yeah, it's just caught it on a white legger, caught it on a green crab, caught it on an Asian. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I mean, the one caught the one kayak guy, Matt.
Sunrise, yeah.
Yeah, he just used regular bait. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he was just using regular bait. He bought it at a tackle shop, a local tackle shop. So
he was up there in Jurassic Park too. So
yeah. Well, he now works there too at that outfitter shop. What is Blackhall?
Blackhall. That's where I bought one of my kayaks from.
Yeah,
they were the only ones on the East Coast that had the boat in stock, so we drove from here to Connecticut.
Yeah, it's worth it. Well, now you can just go to Great Bay.
Now I can go to Paul.
Yeah, go to Paul and pick it up there. Still got to get Scotty Sevens out on a kayak. Got to get Heaven and L on a kayak.
I'm trying.
I know.
I'm trying on Scotty. He's being funny.
That's because he can't get his beautiful pictures on a kayak. He's got to be able to get the Scotty shot, leaning forward.
He's got that new 360 cam. He can do whatever he wants with that thing.
That is true. If he wants to get it wet,
I got it.
It's great. We can say whatever we want about him right now, and he can't say anything to stop us that except in chat.
Look, all right. So now look, here it is. I'm gonna put this on the show. Yeah. He's dying to do the kayak, so I'm gonna blow your phone up until you go.
Yeah, he's not dying to. He's not. But in fairness to him, he is making money every time he goes fishing. So if he's going kayak fishing, it's for himself. So I kind of understand if a captain doesn't want to do it, but we're gonna make him do it. Definitely, especially for fluke next year, because he always says he's not good at fluke fishing because he doesn't do it. He's caught some nice fluke that I've seen. But yeah, we got to get him out. We got to get Heaven and L out. There are a bunch of people. I actually was texting a guy earlier today, Ed, that wants to borrow your kayak sometime for Sheep's Head.
Whoa.
Yeah, he wants to go with us. So yeah. So anyway, this is I don't know that there's a lot more to do. We want to try to keep these a little bit less duration than normal. Is there anything you want to hit before we go, Ed?
There were two good questions that I starred. Yak Shore Outdoors was asking about fat kid friendly dry suits. So first of all, it's Fat Dad. We're Fat Dad here. It's me more than his kayak. I know Paul from Great Bay has a line on a manufacturer or something. I would reach out to him. I don't know what the pricing is.
He's got some really inexpensive ones. He's got some that are like ridiculously inexpensive. And to test them, he jumped into the water in the winter just to see if they leaked, and they didn't leak. So he actually just used one the whole time. So if you want something that's inexpensive, he has them. I'm going to recommend this, though. I don't care if you're a male or female. If you are going to be buying a dry suit, get one with a relief zipper. Okay. I have friends that I fish with that don't. I think Bill doesn't have one on his. And it's incredibly entertaining for me, because once that coffee hits and they need to go, they're just like constantly moving around, trying, they don't stop moving, and they're like, oh, I got to run and find some place in the marshes that I can get out or stand up and, get a relief zipper. It's worth the extra $50 or $100. I swear to God, it is absolutely worth it. But you don't have to go expensive.
You should just train for that. Should be like an all-season thing. Train your bladder.
Yeah. And then, but look, you can find some relatively inexpensive ones. They're like, $500 to $750. You look at Level 6, look at NRS, Kokatat. There are ones out there that you can get, and make sure that you get them multiple sizes too big for you, because they do not do anything to keep you warm. All they do is keep you dry. So when you're out there and it's 30 degrees, you're going to be freezing if you can't layer underneath. So you want to be able to put some wool clothing underneath. Do not use cotton when you're out. It's just dangerous if water does get in, and it can. Even though it's called a dry suit, water can get in if you're underwater, if you're in the water, little bits of it, but you don't want cotton clothing on when you're in the water. You want wool. So make sure you do that. Make sure you can layer. So relief zipper, and get it multiple sizes too big. So if you normally would wear an XL, get a 2X or a 3X, and you should be in pretty good shape. You'll feel like an idiot when you're putting it on, but if it just fits right, you're never going to get it over your shoulders, and it's going to be impossible. You're going to need help getting undressed at the ramp, which most people need help. So that's my advice. Invest in it once. Make sure you take care of it, which is why I'm going to have to get a new one. I totally forgot to rinse mine off after I used it last time. So I saw it actually yesterday. It's got salt all over it. So we'll see how long that lasts. Yeah. All right. Was there another question in there?
Yeah, Brother Tom. He was asking about local charter boats.
So, okay. So my brother lives in Wilmington. So Delaware, I can get you some. Really, Ocean City, Maryland's got a lot of good ones. So that's probably the midway. Actually, he's probably still closer to New Jersey. I'm going to say, Tom, talk to Scotty Sevens. If you want to go anywhere near Atlantic City, Scotty will get you on the Sheep's Head. He'll get you on the nice striped bass. Those are kind of his two things. And if they're coming through, he'll get you on the Albies also. Yeah, Scotty's a little wrong in the head like all of us, so he'll get you on whatever's moving at that moment. That's the one that I would recommend. And it's not because Scotty is here in the chat or anything. It's because no, it's not. It's because I actually recommend that you go talk to Scotty if you want to go out.
And if Scotty, I'm not sure if you're doing TOG, but I have a friend of mine, Captain Mike Adams, A-Bomb Charters. He's
Yeah.
doing TOG this year and Seabass. He's out of Atlantic City. Awesome
Yeah.
dude, great captain. So
Make sure it's clear. It's A-Bomb out of AC. It's different than Atom Bomb out of Cape May, which also is another very good charter to take.
That's what I hear. I don't know.
Yeah, Adam, what's his last name? Kruthamel, something like that.
No, I don't know.
He is really good. He is really good. So if you want to go out of Cape May, definitely want to go with him. And as Steven's saying, Stalker out of Wildwood is also an outstanding boat to go on. And not only that, but Stalker, he can take you backwaters or out front. And if you want striped bass year round, you want to talk to him. If you're going to be down south in the extreme southern part of the state. Those are my recommendations. Oh, Stalker out of Cape May. Yeah, well, doesn't he come out of behind? I thought he came out of behind Wildwood.
Stalker? I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't remember. They all mixed together. You know how many captains I've talked to in the past year? It's insanity. It's insanity. But I'll tell you what, I've learned so much just from talking to these guys. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's good when a little bit of knowledge can rub off on you.
Yeah, and I've been fortunate. That's one really good thing about being with Salt Strong is I got to meet a ton of captains all over the country. And I've got guys that if I head down to North Carolina, I know who I'm going with. Virginia, Maryland, I mean all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So just very fortunate to have met those people and to learn from them. And the best part is everybody always talks before we go live and after. So, we may do an hour, we may do a half an hour, but the conversation is probably 2 hours. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just taking notes the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm also feeling a field trip to Karen and Darren's. So maybe we can do a Fat Dad outing.
So maybe we should invite people to do that. I don't know if people remember, there is a video on this channel. It's like Tog and Karen or something like that. Karen and Tog. And we were fishing a wreck, and the owner of the property right next to it really didn't want us there and tried to kick us out. And we didn't let him because he didn't own the water. He was very upset. And we've always talked about going back there with a lot of people, and just kind of sitting there. That could be fun. Although I have fished there since then, and he has stared at us, but he's never come out and said anything. So I think he realized that he was wrong. He can't make us go away from. It's the intercoastal too. It's not even like there's like no question, and it's 40 feet or 30 feet of water. He doesn't own that, but yeah, he thought he did. But it's a really good spot to go though. But it's a very small spot.
Yeah, Back Bay.
Yeah, Back Bay. There's not a great launch real close, but if you don't mind pedaling for a couple miles.
I don't think it's that far.
Well, down and back, it's at least a mile down.
You think so?
Yeah, from that crappy launch. Oh, it's a terrible launch too. You got to go over rocks and down ledges. But it's good. It's a good spot. It's Ventnor area.
Yeah, Scotty. I'm sure Scotty will know exactly where it is.
I'm sure Scotty fishes that quite often. I know Mahalik fishes there. I know a lot of people fish in that area and that exact spot. So
we could also, if the Osprey comes down, we could jump on and do a whole group on that too, like Scotty's saying.
Yeah, that would be fun. There's nothing better than getting a whole bunch of people together and showing up all just exhausted to go out on a nice cold weather trip. I love doing that. So why don't we make a commitment? We'll do that. We'll pick a day. I'll reach out to the Osprey and see, when they're coming down, and let's do the Osprey. That's kind of centrally located. So whether you're in Northern Jersey or Southern Jersey, it's not that bad. And I say that as somebody who's driving from PA. So I'm driving, and to get there, I'm driving 2 hours. So to me, that's just normal. So we'll just say the Osprey. We'll find some dates, and I'll see how many people we need to get committed in order to kind of block out a whole bunch of things ahead of time. So, yeah.
Cool.
All right. And Heaven and Elle has a story
about how she got her mortars.
Yeah. All right. That's not for on here.
No.
All right. Fat Dad merch. Yes. On fatdadfishing.com. There is some stuff. Got to get that restocked. If anybody wants any of that stuff, got to get some new stuff up there. As you can see, I don't even have any on right now.
I got Captain Hank's merch.
There you go. See, you're on top of it. You're definitely on top of it. And Carl wants to do a Maryland tog trip this winter. I 100% would love to go down and do a Maryland trip. I would love to go down there. And I'll tell you what, I've tried to talk to some of the captains down there and they don't want to talk to me. So I tried to invite several of them to come on and they just will not return a phone call.
All right. Now I think Drew's just trying to poke the bear here.
Yeah, he was rooting for the Diamondbacks. That's all right.
That's blasphemy, man. That's not even cool.
All right. So I agree. However, you can't say that because you're a stinking Giants fan.
Yeah. I love Philly baseball and I hate Eagles football. Right. I can't stand New York baseball though. They're worse. They're worse than the Eagles.
Yeah, they are. They are. The Eagles are good. You just have to join what should be your home team.
Mm-mm.
Well, you weren't raised right. There's nothing I can do about that.
Listen, I live in New Jersey.
Yes.
And the Giants and the Jets
supported by our economy. Yep.
Both play in New Jersey. So
yeah. All right. You Devils fan?
I don't watch hockey.
Okay. All right. We'll have to have another conversation about this. So yeah, Daniel Jones has been great to the Eagles. And that is true. You got your elite quarterback at least.
I said the backup guy did better than Daniel Jones.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. There were a couple of games like that. All right, so we got to get this
wrapped up.
I
got to go to work the next day, so it doesn't much matter.
That is true. That is true. And I'm going to go to work tomorrow. I'm going to have a fun day tomorrow, actually, and then look forward to the Phillies winning tomorrow night with Ranger Suarez on the mound. We got a legit shot. So I'm looking forward to that. Everybody, thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
On our, even though we didn't have a guest, and it's just great seeing everybody again in the chat, and looking forward to really getting this going again and getting everything ramped up. And it should be a fun winter. Again, let me know if there's anyone that you want to have on as a guest, or if you want to be a guest. Just let me know, rich@fatdadfishing.com. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. And I believe it is going to be a live one in 2 weeks. So it'll, again, be a Monday night. We might need a little flexibility on those, on that, but it'll be announced well in advance. And I'll try not to spam everybody with those ridiculous pictures this time.
No, we need some more of those.
Those are fun.
Those were the best.
We already had the one made up for Mihalik's episode, and it is exquisite.
That was clutch. I picked
awesome.
that one, and I will toot my own horn there. That was perfect.
Yeah, wait till you see the one with Mihalik. I think it's November 20th. He's coming on. So we have one in between there that we got to find somebody to come on. But the one with Mihalik is just, I sent him the picture and he's like, oh my God, this is great.
Let's let it fly. Post it up after this.
Post it up after this? No, we got to wait.
Let her rip.
All right, hold on 1 second. We'll do it real quick.
Can we do polls in this thing?
Yeah. All right, so the question is, should we wait to share Frank's thumbnail? All right, we'll start the poll real quick. We got 39 people in here. We'll just let it go for like a minute. And if the vote is to share it, I will just share it here.
Oh, yes.
So in preparation,
it is so worth it.
In preparation for that, let me see if I can upload the picture. I still think that we should wait, but we'll let the viewers who are so awesome to come
sneak peek here.
If I can find it. Yeah, I gotta find this here.
I might have it saved in my phone.
Oh, I can just share a screen. Okay, hold on. I can do that. I'm trying to upload it, but I can just share a screen. How's the poll looking?
I don't know. I can't see it.
You can't?
Where would it be? Yeah, I don't see it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Got it. All right. Let's see what the poll says. Oh, it's close. So we've got only about 20 more seconds, 21 votes, 57% say yes, 43 say no. Give it 10 more seconds. Oh, 55 to 45. It's tightening up. No, it's back up to 57. All right. We're going to end the poll here. All right. Let me share. I'll share this. Let me figure out how to do this here real quick so everybody can see it. Here is the picture for Frank Mihalik's episode.
Tell me that is not the best thing you've ever seen.
It's I like this is what I should be doing. This is when I should be doing work, and I'm making these stupid things.
You
But
could
just
totally.
if you guys have seen the original, this is what Frank looks so much like the guy, the captain or whatever in the middle. Oh, I love it. Yeah. So all right. So there's going to be our thumbnail for Frank's episode. So I'm gonna have to make one for some other people. So
we're gonna get Joey Leggio back on. He'd have fun with that.
Yeah, Leggio would be a great one to have come back on. There's a lot of guys, you know, that really, I mean, people just love. You know, you got so many. You got George Bucci, and you've got Bayside Dave. People love watching their stuff for fishing from shore. Chris Matusin as well. So you really have the shore covered with those three.
Mm-hmm.
Leggio and Halkias, but Halkias is out of the game at this point, so he might be tough to get on. But we can get some of the other guys, probably like Doc or somebody, to come on. It might be a little bit more tame without all of them on at one time, because
I'm still
insane.
glad I set that one out.
that was like herding cats, herding drunk cats. Those guys were hilarious, though. Yeah. So Sean Kimbrough is, man. Sean Krim, that guy, I really want to go fishing with him down in the Chesapeake. That guy is a genius. By the way, I bought his book. It is an outstanding book. And usually my reading now is audiobooks. But man, I read his book like a real person. It's a great book. So I have that actually on
my
my
Christmas gift.
Oh yeah. It's a good book.
You were supposed to get it for me.
No, I'm not doing it. Steve Griffin, he was a good one for the Reds down in Virginia or Maryland, and gosh, I didn't even get to talk about that. I went on that trip this summer. It didn't turn out well, but oh my God, was it one of the best trips I've ever been on. For a skunk trip, I'll tell you what, it was a skunk trip, and it was an amazing experience going out on the water that day. Just out with some great guys, spending the day on that boat with Captain Drew. It wasn't actually Steve that was the captain that day, but the book is it's Chesapeake Bay Light Tackle, Joe, and it's Sean Kimbrough is the author. So you can look that up online, order direct from him.
To see if we can get Joe Cermelli back on too.
Yeah, Cermelli.
That was a fun one.
Cut and Retie podcast. There's just so many people. You know, I honestly, I'd like everybody to come back on. I don't like doing this the way that other podcasts do. Well, you've already been a guest, you can't come back. No, this is all about people talking fishing and hanging out. So we'll make sure that we do that. So we'll be reaching out to everyone. Elle, you are going to need to come back on, whether you like it or not. You really don't have an option. You know, Scotty, sorry, you don't have an option either. We're gonna browbeat you into coming on. I think Drew should come on sometime because Drew's just got stories on stories.
No, he's cheering for the Diamondbacks. No,
I know he's cheering for the Diamondbacks, but
I won't be on that show.
When the Phillies win, then we'll invite him on. Then we can make fun of them. Yeah. So, all right. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this return episode for us. We're going to be back in a couple of weeks. We will announce the guest coming up. And if you don't follow the Fat Dad Fishing podcast, I think, Ed, we might need to change that name, by the way, to something else. I was thinking Pulp Fishing would be a good one. I'm thinking of maybe changing the name on that.
Say it one more goddamn time.
Pulp Fishing. Yeah. So everyone, thank you very much. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. And until next time, get out there, get on the water, and get some tight lines.